Okay, so I want to tell you something. You'll never see me in most of my presentation exactly like this, but I'm doing it in memory of my last session in Tel Aviv. It was really amazing, but there was a nice person by the name of Yaron who said to me, "Why won't we do a session on the beach where he would teach us Qigong and I will teach natural vision improvement?" And normally, the organizer that I normally have in Israel always wants me to dress well, as I do, to even have a haircut, as I'm intending to do today. But she never once, she this time told me, go with a bathing suit. So I bought a new bathing suit. I wore a shirt that I normally wear. And with flip flops, I started to teach 70 people in Tel Aviv who came from different places of the country. Um, in Israel, since the country is very small, traveling for 4.5 hours is like in the United States traveling for a day and a half, like from state to state. So people came from everywhere in the country. 70 were interested. Not everybody in Tel Aviv is interested in natural vision improvement. And we started with one of the participants who I didn't remember at all, who told me and then told everybody else that 18 years ago, a doctor wanted to do a surgery in one of his eyes in the retina and told him that he may lose the vision after the surgery, but the surgery is possibly going to save his vision. And it's a complicated one. And I don't know why I told him that, because often I tell people to follow doctor's advice, but I told him, don't do the surgery. And we did eye exercises, and his doctor was very upset that he didn't come to do the surgery. But he met him a month later, and doctor said, your retina is good. 2 months later, he said it's perfectly healed. And 18 years later, the person sees very well, and he's so grateful. He's a educator of special needs children. So that was a very, very interesting situation on the beach of Tel Aviv. We were able to do a lot of exercise. Let me remind everybody about my teaching. I was born with cataracts, and it's very unusual to be born with cataracts. Not in connection with my cataracts, my parents were deaf, both of them. So I was born with cataracts, and I developed a completely independence. I was reading Braille. I was the quickest Braille reader in the state of Israel. And I've done very, very nicely there. And then um, I had 5 surgeries that almost destroyed my eyes completely. If you want to take a look at it, this picture is the picture of a lens, a normal lens, the lens of my ex-wife. We took it in 1993 before I did a book campaign. And this is my lens. I had 5 surgeries that shattered it. My pupil is broken to pieces. And even though they gave me 3 times the atropine that they gave to my ex-wife, it couldn't even expand. You can understand why I had basically 1% vision. There was even a worse reason that they discovered later, and that is that you should do the surgery of cataract at the age of 2 weeks, because at the age of 8 weeks is when the brain wants to see, and if it doesn't see then, you become blind for life. My 2 kids were born with cataracts. They inherited it from me, and they see very well. My daughter is 31, my son is 35, and the vision is amazing, better than anyone who was born with cataracts. And so I built skills with which I can see better. And I was able to train 70 people in that moment to improve the vision. There was even one person who complained, I can't see better right now. And I, with specific exercise, helped him see better. So there are principles to natural vision improvement. And that point in Tel Aviv, we had in different parts, just as long as you sense your hands as you wave them to the side while looking at a distance, your periphery starts to work as a part of this exercise, and your lens becomes flat, and it's an amazing thing. Of course, something I cannot do right now, we don't have the right camera for it, but I wish we did, is the sunning exercise, straight in the sun, where I close my eyes and move my head all the way from side to side, all the way to the left, all the way to the right. And we have the sunning exercise in all of our videos, and we'll definitely present it many, many times. We did it in the beach. It was amazing. And after that, when people start to read, because the pupils were constricted more as a result of doing the sunning exercise, 60 out of the 70 people started to see better. So we moved the head all the way, and the constriction and the expansion led to more and more strength in the eyes and much better vision. So that is a very important thing that happened in that beach. First of all, this is something I want to tell everybody who hears me, that what we need is to have a sense of expansion and to never strain to see anything. This is something that took me forever to learn, because I used to strain all the time. The result of straining was nystagmus, was involuntary movement of the eyes. And so I used to strain all the time. And this is a result of cataracts, because when the brain wants you to see, but the eyes cannot see, it leads to irritation of the optic nerve, which leads to this incredible movement, which used to be 300 times per minute. But I learned to slow it down. So whenever you look at anything, pay attention that you blink, because that means you don't strain. Pay attention that you have peripheral vision. So you blink, you have peripheral vision, and the important thing is you also look from point to point without straining. This is a skill that we have, that we're teaching. You look at smaller areas and you tend to see, but you don't ever strain to see them. And we have pages with which people work with large and small print. Let me see if I can find one right now. And as we look at those pages and we look at large and small print, yeah, I have this page right here. And if somebody is legally blind, as many, many of my clients are, we start with a page like this. And if they see this, we tell them then, look at the spaces between the letters here. Look at the spaces between the words here. Look at the spaces between the lines here. And then return here, and they learn to look at the smaller spaces than they tend to see. And then when they look from area to area to area, they start to see better and better. But most people look at this page, if you can see it, and this page, many people were able to see number 4 and number 5. They were able to see it. Let me see if I can put the light a bit closer so you can see it. And as they looked at this, it was a bit fuzzy. But after doing sunning, where they would close the eyes and move the head all the way from side to side, remember, they don't look at the sun, they just face it. So they close the eyes gently and move the head from side to side. So as they face the sun, the pupils will constrict. As they move away, they expand. Um, they were able to then see number 6 and some number 7. You had to see how amazed they were. And as we learn to look at different details at the distance without strain, they were able to all of a sudden see windows in buildings that they could not see before. People had huge revelation and wrote in the internet in Israel quite a few wonderful things about our meeting. The problem we have is that this work is not known enough all over the world. The best place I thought it was the beach. I had two amazing events in my trip. One was my workshop in Aluenda, Spain. It's a very small, unknown town that was able to host a big group of people from many places in Europe, but mainly from Spain itself. And we had 34 students there. And many of them were teachers of natural vision improvement, and others were ophthalmologists and optometrists. And people saw how we can get legally blind people to see better. But they also saw how they could get rid of their glasses and see better. And the same principles are standing, basically. You allow the world to come in, you don't stress to see it. And you know that when your periphery works and when you blink. You learn to look at details, small ones, without straining to see them. As I've presented now with that page, right? And to just show it to you again, but there's so many exercises there. And that is that if you see this paragraph, you don't strain to see this one. What you do is you look at the spaces between the letters, and you look at the spaces between the words here, and you look at the space between the lines here and here, and slowly, slowly you return. We also taught people to look at a distance with great patience. You don't pay your bills looking at a distance, but it is such a wonderful experience to look at the ocean. That's why our school is by the ocean. And whenever I have classes here, we spend a lot of the time in the balcony that looks at the ocean and on the beach itself. So we look at details, and it's so interesting to look at waves. And that day in Tel Aviv was so pleasant. People just were thirsty for that information. And as soon as you look at a distance, everything from near becomes clearer. Again, when you look at distance, you pay attention that your periphery works, that your eyes are blinking. That is really a must for all times, that the eyes will be blinking, that the periphery will be expansive, and it feels like you really have a good time seeing. That is so important for our YouTube clip and for sight that we can possibly have. So I would like to answer any questions on the chat. Robbie, if you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Okay.
Questions in the chat, please. People, any questions?
Well, before any questions, I just want to tell you about another very interesting experience I had. And Robbie is going to stay in this room to look for questions that come. I had a fantastic kid who came to me in France, because in this trip I was in Spain and in two different places, Barcelona and Aluenda. Then we went to Paris, and then we went to Germany, and then we went to Israel. Now, in Paris, I had the opportunity to work on a wonderful kid who no longer can stand from sitting because of the worst kind of muscular dystrophy called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And it was so wonderful to work with him. I worked with him in water. It's interesting. We put him in a warm bath and got him to bend and straighten his legs in the water where he could do it at ease, and his arms. And then we put cold water on him. And it was interesting. He screamed when he got the cold water. And when we finished, he said, "Do it again." That's basically what it came to. reason why the water were warm, it's easier for the muscles. They're relaxed. The reason why you have to cool them is because there could be some inflammation from the heat. So we had to do kind of both. And one secret I taught the parents is he lost some movement, but then there are movements that exist for him he doesn't know anything about. So we start to do all kinds of movements that he can do without strain. And the result is that the parents and my partner could observe that he walked in a much easier way. So if we find a way to function at great ease and not strain when we move, we change our life completely. We can then overcome paralysis, and we can definitely overcome many neurological problems and vision problems.
So you have a question from Matteo Ducci. He says, what to do to reduce the eye pressure?
You have to understand that the eye pressure is only one reason for glaucoma. The other reason for glaucoma is poor blood flow to the optic nerve, and it degenerates. The most important way is to work on your middle back. So, for example, if you sit and you move your whole upper body in rotating motion in both directions, and you hold one leg and you move in rotating motion in both directions, and you do the same thing here, you slowly work on your middle back. And it's even better to do it when you sit on the floor. So you can take a pillow or a yoga mat, and you can sit on the floor. Can they see me from this distance?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can sit on the floor and move in rotating motion. Hold one leg and move in rotating motion in both directions. Hold the other leg and move in rotating motion in both directions. And change it and move your whole body in rotating motion in both directions. Hold one side and then hold the opposite side. So that is a way to have a full rotation with your body, and then you do something the doctors tells you not to do, and this is to move the head from side to side and then in rotating motion in both directions. But you have to understand that sometimes you reduce the pressure and you still lose vision. And that is, for me, a proof to the fact that the pressure could hurt the eyes badly. And so the question is, how bad is your pressure? If somebody comes and tells me, my pressure is high, and you have to know that 10 to 20 is normal, unless you have normal tension glaucoma. They used to call it low tension glaucoma, but now they call it normal tension glaucoma, which means they don't want you to have a normal pressure. 10 to 20 is normal, but somebody who has normal tension glaucoma, they want to do it less than 14. I would say 14, even 15 would be okay, even for normal pressure glaucoma. Then 20 and above considered to be high, and 30 and above considered to be dangerous. If somebody comes and tells me I have a pressure of 50, I would say, hey, now you need those drops to moderate it. But with time, it's good to be without the drops, because often the medications are as much problem as the problem itself. So it would be very good for you to work with us in the 6-day class, or even better, in the basic training that we're going to have for all the body on March. But on February, we're sending now many postcards. You should give us your address so we can send it to you as well, of announcement for the 6-day class. And I think it's a good time for many people to register. I had a very successful one in Israel. And as I said, I had a 5-day class in Alwenda Spain that got people to get rid of their glasses and other people to reduce their legal blindness. So it would be very nice for us to have that class full of people who are very interested to work. So to help your glaucoma, it'd be good for you to meet me individually. It's worth coming from anywhere in the world for the 6-day class and work with it. Looks like Robbie is eager for me to answer more questions.
Okay.
I am not eager. I answer them when I feel like answering them.
Okay. You have 5 to answer. That's why.
Okay.
Okay. Number 1 question from Vlad Weinstein. He says, "What is a good exercise for double vision with no underlying condition?"
Well, there are many, many reasons for double vision, and I would love to meet you, Vlad, and to analyze why you have the double vision rather than to decide that there's no underlying conditions. And then I may agree with you, I may not. It depends in the diagnosis you got. But for example, I have now red and green glasses. My um, green lens can only see this um, kind of off red color. My red lens cannot see it. If I close my green lens, I cannot see it, but it can see this light. So if I separate between the green and the red and start to move from area to area, I'm starting to work with the eyes independently, and then I get them to unite in the brain. We have several amazing exercises for double vision. And if you want to really improve, and I'm feeling that once you approached us but didn't come yet, then you have to see me for several sessions to improve that double vision. And it's written in my book, Vision for Life. You can start to work there. But again, come to the class and also come and see me individually, and we work on it.
Next question is from Grace. She says, "What do you think about red light therapy for eyes? I understand 670 nm has many studies."
I'm not clear about it, and I would like to not bring my viewpoint about it.
Okay. Ivete Martin says, "Is there treatment for age-related macular degeneration?"
Well, we work a lot with age-related macular degeneration. The best story I ever had in my life related to it is that I had a wonderful man who was a pharmacist, and all of his life he was basically looking at prescriptions and medicine bottles. He was hung, and he had laser treatment. Today they don't do it, thank God. The doctors oppose those treatments, but they're too engaged with the different injections that they give. They think it will help forever. It never helps forever. But what happens is that he had laser treatment. He ended up seeing 8 images of everything, and he had 5% vision. 5% vision. That basically means that the big letter he could see from like 10 feet and no more than that. And so we worked. I first of all had to straighten his back, and we had a wonderful exercise where we would lie down, we look at one side and would stretch that way, look at the other side, stretch this way, and he slowly, slowly got straighter. And then I got him to look because he always looked from near. Again, he looked at prescription and medicine bottle because he was a pharmacist. I got him to look at a distance. And within 2 months, his vision improved to 40% of normal vision without glasses, and with glasses to 95% of normal vision. I had all kinds of improvements, but like that, before and after, I never had. So what I would like you to do again is to come and work with me, the 6-day class. And there's no magic there. Magic is life itself, basically. And I would like you to come and do this practice.
The next question is from Zeshka Dujek. She said, "I have early onset at age 51 years, cataract on the left eye, which is highly myopic. What exercises can I do on a daily basis to slow this down? Can I reverse the process?"
Quite often, you can stop the process from growing. And of course, the problem with cataract and high myopia is that sometimes surgeries lead to detached retina, and sometimes they lead to to glaucoma. My suggestion is look at the distance for 40 minutes a day. Wave your hands to the side as you look at the distance. I'm looking for obstructive lens. Let's see if I find it. Um, so, yeah, great. Thank you, Robbie.
Mhm.
So, for example, my right eye is my strong eye, and often I would look by obstructing. I still have peripheral vision here. Another way to keep my peripheral vision is to take a small piece of paper and to put it over my strong eye. So I can either do this and wave my hand to the side and look with my weaker eye at a distance. This is also better for indoors than putting the glasses, or put the glasses. And so when I look at the distance with one eye obstructed, not patched, although sometimes we have to patch for other reasons, then we start to activate the lens better. For example, our lens, in my opinion, is a victim of overuse from near. We need to look from far. And that may stop you from having the surgery. But eye exercise, in my opinion, will do one of two things. Either they will prevent you from having the surgery, or they will make your eyes so strong that if a surgery is done, there'll be less complications, if any.
And then the next question is from Rich and Deb Edelmeyer. They say, I have glaucoma. On the last visit, there was disc hemorrhage on the optic nerve of one eye. What can I do? I go back in February.
I'm sorry to have glaucoma, and I'm sorry for the disc damage. And my question is, does that cause you any blind spots? If we have blind spots, we have light that blinks into the blind spots. But the main thing is, do the eye exercises. Do the 10 steps that it takes to improve the vision. Follow the principles of this work of relaxing the eyes, looking at a distance, adjusting to the sunlight, looking at details, creating balanced hues between the eyes, creating balanced hues within each eye, and bringing more blood circulation to the head.
Virginia Briggs says, what can you do about floaters?
Many things. For example, you look at a floater and it tends to float, and then you look at it again. In fact, you look at part of that floater, and the vitreous fluid basically breaks it. Is that the end of the questions?
That's the end of the questions.
Good. I want to show you one exercise before we leave the uh, event, which is a short event, and that is move your head in rotating motion in both directions and breathe deeply and slowly. Massage your head, massage your skull, separate the skull from the scalp, and breathe deeply. Push the ear to the shoulder and top. Push it to the other shoulder and top. Bring the head up and massage. And move your head in rotation again. And see how it feels. Is it light? Then tap on the abdomen and on your thighs and say, center, 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 center. Stand up and sit down. Again, center, center. All of you, stand up and sit down. And once more, center, center, stand and sit, and see how lighter the neck is. We asked questions. There was a couple of questions here about glaucoma. Without a loose neck, you can take all the drops in the world. Eventually, blood will not reach the optic nerve, and things can get worse. But it's true about AMD and other problems. In order to be compliant with eye exercises, we have to have a loose neck. And when we have a loose neck, we can always improve. Let's do one more exercise. Rub your hands, move your arms in rotating motion in both directions, as well as here in both directions. Yeah, and now sit down and I'll get the lights off here and we'll palm for 6 minutes. Alexa, tell me when 6 minutes are over.
6 minutes, starting now.
So you put your hands around the eye orbits and you breathe deeply and slowly and you visualize that you're seeing darkness, maybe even blackness. And you breathe deeply and slowly, slowly and deeply. You see darkness, you see blackness, you visualize the eyes as soft. You breathe and you feel your abdomen expands when you breathe in and shrinks when you breathe out. You feel that your lower back expands when you breathe in and shrinks when you breathe out. You feel that your ribs expand when you breathe in and shrink when you breathe out. You visualize your head expands when you breathe in and shrinks when you breathe out. You make no effort, none whatsoever. Breathe deeply and breathe slowly. Never think hard thoughts, all of them should be pleasant. But one thought that may sound to you and as unpleasant, but it's actually very nice, is seeing blackness. If you see blackness while you're breathing, it means that your eyes are completely relaxed. Not only them, but also the optic nerve. So breathe deeply, breathe slowly. Visualize your head goes all the way to the ceiling and each shoulder moves to the opposite side of the room. Breathe deeply and breathe slowly. And allow yourself a moment of complete relaxation. You're in your own space and you're seeing darkness. It's not a funeral color, it is a color of complete rest of the optic nerve. You see black as if it's the black of the night. And you make no effort whatsoever. 6 minutes is important because it's the time that it takes to clean all the extra chemicals that the retina needs to get rid of. So visualize you're seeing darkness, visualize you see blackness, and count 10 slow deep breaths right now. Try to feel that you're comfortable in the chair you're sitting on. Enjoy seeing the color. Get into it. Don't be impatient. Don't think your normal thoughts. And for that, you can listen to music. You can also Follow some of our palming tapes. You can get them in our different videos and audios, especially the audio Meir's Vision and the other one, relaxation for the eyes. Just follow the audios, follow the videos, and never put pressure on the cheekbones. Never point your neck down or up. You just breathe in and out. 6 minutes is a long time for many people, but it's not too long. To have patience and sit this way is big, and it's wonderful. Alexa, stop. Slowly, slowly take your hands off. Is there any other question?
We have one from Marcia Rizende. She watched a video showing an eye patch being used over the week.
Never.
If one eye...
Hold on. The eye patch is never being used over a trampoline in the weak eye. The eye obstruction or patch, or mainly we're talking about the obstruction, is being used. No, not the patch. The obstruction is normally, when we use it over the strong eye to allow the weak eye freedom of activity. There's no point to use it over the weak eye. Then you put more effort with the strong eye.
And then the second part of her question, she said, if one eye is weak for farsightedness and the other is weak for nearsightedness, which one should I put the patch on?
Depends what you do. If you work for distance, then you obstruct the eye which is strong from distance. When you work from near, then you obstruct with a small piece of paper. Let's find it.
With the tape.
With a tape, with a strong piece of paper. As you do your reading, from near, okay, you're reading from near. Let me see where we have the pages here. Then you obstruct. Yeah, thanks. This is the right paper.
Take the tape.
Yeah, we'll put the tape, and we have to find those pages. I had them a minute ago. Yeah. So you put the tape. Can you look for the pages? I can do the tape. Thank you. They're right here. More in the middle there. Yeah.
Which one would you want?
The large and small print. Yeah, there we go. I basically do my reading while waving my hand to the side and looking with my weaker eye from near. So again, you only block partially the eye that is strong, and you work the eye which is weak. And it's so important because doctors don't understand that. They make one eye look from near and one look from far, and it creates problems in the visual system. We want balance. What's the other question?
Is there any treatment for amblyopia?
Of course. I've just have shown some of it. Of course. That's why I'm saying come to my 6-day class and practice. Okay, we have a nice beach near us. I'm not going to be with a bathing suit. This is San Francisco, Tel Aviv, but I'm in bathing suit right now. Okay, that's the end?
No, I'm just giving the 6-day link.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me just finish. Okay. Do they hear my voice when you do that?
Yeah, they hear and see you when you do
Okay, very good. So I'd like to thank you all for participating. Thank you for allowing me to share with you my work with paralysis, especially with this wonderful kid who I showed the parents to work with muscles that he normally doesn't use, and for talking to you about what to do with your vision. I'm looking forward to see many of you in my 6-day class and my basic training to my whole work, body and eyes. The 6-day class is basically on the eyes.